What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into the HEX crypto universe. Good to see all you guys. We got a whole live house today. Man, bear market, guys. Let's go. Let's talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the pursuit of mad gains. That's what we're here for, right? It might be a while, guys, but hey, dollar cost average. It's never been a better time. Never been a better time to be alive in crypto, guys. This is where the wealth is made in generations, and you're all here for it. Especially if you're staked, I know you're here for it. I know the people on my channel, the people watching this, we're ahead of the curve. We're going to be all right, guys. We're going to cope. We're all going to make it, guys. Wag me. Hashtag wag me. What is going on? It's great to see everybody. PulseChain, HEX Game, Jake Ong Tung, what's up? Bufo on the beat. Are we ever going to see 1 or 2 cents HEX again? Bro, I think it's possible. I think it might be in the cards, and I think we're in for a little fake out. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything today. We're going to talk about every little old thing. Oh, there I am again. Let's see. Let's check the audio. Oh, audio. Speakers. Ah, there we go. There's that smooth, buttery voice that we all love. No, it's not.
There we go. There we go. How's that audio for you? I knew I bought that microphone for a reason, that Joe Rogan microphone. $400 right here, guys. Get yourself one. Makes yourself sound a lot more official. DeFi Dior, what is up, my Chicago brother? Like button smashed. DeFi, do your own research. I love the name change. Guys, it's so good to see all you guys here. We got some OGs in the house. Sandy B, Red Squirrel, oi oi. Hello from across the pond, sir. Paul Newman, what's up? Footsteps, let's Fkin go. I can't swear because I want to get monetized. You know what I mean? Bear market. Got to make that YouTube money. Fat Sammy Slice. Hey, all. Nom nom. You've been given a wrench. So nom 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 to you too. Let's see. Sandy B. Hello again. Who else we got here? Who else can I give a shout out to? Anyone else feel like they went on way too many rides at an amusement park? Yeah, this is the this is like going to Six Flags and the Raging Bull, man. This is it's wild riding crypto, but can you just imagine, like, we're the people that can stomach this stuff. I mean, the boomers are freaking out in the traditional markets about a 20% drawdown, 30% drawdown. We're over here just chilling, 80% down, 90% down. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where we go. And plus, we're 80% down. We could still go down another 50%, even 75%. We could go back to a penny. What would you do in that case? Would you buy more, or would you stake it? Or would you freak out and paper hand soy boy it all the way? You know? Some people squander the opportunity of a lifetime when it's looking them right in the face. Guys, we're going to talk about the macro today. Right after I finish saying hi to all you guys. Jerry Oaksmith. Hey, Jerry Oaksmith, my favorite mod. Just kidding. You're all my favorite guys. Rakesh, in other words, HEX was previously non-correlated, and now in the bear there's correlation. Yeah, so that's the thing, Rakesh. I know it's like a meme to say, oh, this time it's different. This time it's different. This time, guess what? It actually is different. It really is different this time. Crypto's been around for 10, 12 years. It's been publicly traded for about 10 and maybe 11 years. You know, Bitcoin, it's been traded since 2009, maybe early 2010. And in the entire existence of crypto, we've always been in a macro bullish environment. So it's been easy to, you know, make a narrative that, oh, decorrelated asset, yada, 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 yada. But we can't deny it, guys. When shit hits the fan and when people are freaking out, you know, they're going to sell their speculative assets, and everything's a speculation bubble, guys. Everything's just one big bubble over and over and over till the end of time. It's just one endless cycle, guys. It's an Ouroboros and it never ever stops. But this time it's different because we've never had crypto experience the pain from a macro condition. So we actually have to look into the boomer world a little bit to see what's going on, to see if we can get a sense of when the bottom is going to be. And if you can't tell by the thumbnail, you know, is this the bottom? Well, we're having a great green candle, green dildo day, and it's super awesome to see. You know, I love a good green candle in the morning, you know, the smell of fresh green candles. But, you know, we can't ignore macro this time. So we're going to talk about some stuff that we don't usually talk about, which is the boomer markets, the Federal Reserve rates, you know, general sentiment in, you know, is the Fed dovish or hawkish, quantitative easing, tightening, inflation, and how all these things have an effect on cryptocurrency. And when is the bottom going to be? That's the question that everybody wishes they could ask, or that they could answer. And I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to give you my best guess. Okay. I've already made some videos about it, but we're going to talk about what we're looking to see in terms of when the bottom is going to be. But either way, guys, if you're dollar cost averaging at the dips, at the lows like this, you're getting your seat at the table. All right. You're buying your ticket onto that SpaceX rocket ship to the moon. All right. Now, do you want your seat at the table, or do you want to go buy? Are you going to keep waiting? You're going to keep waiting until it goes a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. Because if you wait too long, for that confirmation, for that confidence that you might want, the difference between buying in at 5 cents versus buying in at 50 cents, let's say, on the way to $4, you're talking about 100x return as opposed to a 20x return. So the layers that you can scale into now, they really, really matter 2 years from now. Okay. And you have to think on this yearly time scale. Nobody else wants to talk about that in crypto except for hexagons and PulseChain people and anyone in the Richard Hart ecosystem. We're all being honest with you. We're talking about long-term time horizons. We're talking about delaying gratification because that's the only thing that works, guys. You try to be a trader, you're going to get wrecked. You try to time the market, you try to time the exact bottom and top, you're going to get wrecked. You try to buy a bunch of altcoins or SHIT coins, without realizing what they even do. They're going to get hacked, rug pulled, poor management. We've seen this over and over. It all started with Luna, which was essentially just poorly designed, so that was a rug pull in the sense that it was a victim of its crappy design. And then the house of cards is falling one by one all around us, guys, all around us. We had Celsius, we had Three Arrows Capital, and we've just had bad news cascading one after another. But are we at the bottom now? Time will tell. Seems like a temporary relief rally might be in the cards, and we're going to talk about that right after we're done saying hi to everybody. Hello, Wild SJ. Great to see you perched up in your rightful place. SJ, good to see you as always. Red Squirrel and Mango Junkie. Hexographer is also happy to see you. What else? Crypto BD. What's up, Coffee? Hello. What's up, Crypto BD? Sound bad. Mic bearish. Yeah. I think I fixed the mic now, right? Is the mic fixed? All right. Here we go. My camera is good. My audio is fine. And yeah, we're good to go. We are good to go. Yeah. Ed says can't be help being born a boomer. Yeah. Well, we like to make fun of the boomer market, right? But it's not a bad thing at all. In fact, the boomers are the one with all the money, guys. They're the ones that we need to buy into this revolution. Okay, the millennials and the Gen Zs, we're gonna be running the world one day, but that's decades from now. And so the boomers are the one with the money. If you guys can start changing the narrative, it would make it a lot easier for the rest of humanity to fall in line. Hey, Coffee, good to see you in Chicago. Hey, what's up, Frank? Yeah, hey. This guy's working on a book. I can't wait till it gets released. He wrote a cryptocurrency book that is a crossover between, I think, crypto and dating somehow. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Frank, it's good to see you in the chat. Everybody wants 1 cent hex. Yeah. Well, hey, enjoy the mini pump we're getting. Enjoy the relief rally. We're going to talk about some stuff that we don't usually talk about. And let's get right into it. Oh, Gen X, can't forget about you guys. Yeah. Who's crafting the narrative today, guys? I think we're crafting the narrative. It's a beautiful thing. Guys, what is happening in the world of crypto? Long story short, when debt is increasing, national debt's increasing, quantitative easing is the way that we get out of this debt, okay? And inflation keeps happening, right? Basically, when debt is increasing, they have to do one of two things to get out of it. You either grow the economy, so you increase your GDP, right? That's gross domestic product. You increase GDP, or you just print more money, right? And so if we're going to look at some numbers like we will in a minute, and if GDP is decreasing, well, the only other option to keep things steady would be to print more money. The Fed doesn't look like they really want to print more money right now. They look like they want to do some quantitative tightening, some QT. That's a term we're not used to, right? We're used to money being abundant, and now money's getting more and more scarce, and therefore prices are going up. Money is harder to get, and speculation. People tend to want to say cash is king. They want to hoard their cash. They don't want to spend as much, and there's generally a feeling of scarcity in the markets, meaning the prices of every speculative bubble comes down. Everything is speculative, guys. This is the everything bubble, okay? I mean, whether you admit it or not, everything's been overinflated AF, real estate, stocks, and crypto, and Bitcoin especially, Stocks, yeah, you could argue that the boomer argument is, oh, but the fundamentals, they're producing goods and services. Guys, the PE ratios on stocks are out of control, like way too high. The profit to earnings ratios, the price to earnings ratios, which means when those ratios are very high, it's probably 90% speculation when we're talking about the price of the stocks in the market in the S&P 500. We need to blow off some steam in all of these asset classes. Even your house, right? It's super, super inflated because there's nowhere else for all this leftover money to go. And if they're going to keep printing money like they have been for the past 10 years, that means a lot of that extra capital, a lot of that extra cash flowed into all these different asset classes, including stocks, which aren't trading anywhere near their so-called fundamentals. Okay. So the whole fundamental argument, that's off the table, guys. It's all one big speculative bubble. And when it comes to crypto, it's almost like taking leverage on stocks, right? It's just more volatility and more gains, but still purely speculation. The actual fundamental value of cryptos as stores of value are incredibly low, and their speculation value is most of the actual value that we're seeing today, even still. And it's not any different with stocks, guys. I mean, it's easier for people to understand stocks because they've been around for years, but this is all just one big speculative bubble, right? So basically, there's a lot of inflation, right? And this is a term from Benjamin Cohen, right? I'm not going to lie and say I thought of this myself, but he's looking for inflation to top. Okay, so when inflation tops, he's thinking that that's when we can start, when there's a clear top in the inflation chart, that's maybe when we can start going back up and see more bullish environments. Okay. And we might be seeing that already. We've seen a lot of inflation. Seriously. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. But let's take a look, right? Let's take a look at the actual inflation. If you want to know, sorry, I'm reading chat a little bit. If you want to know what inflation really is, there's an app, there's a website you can go to called truflation.com. That's truflation.com. And we're going to share that. So this is the dashboard for truflation.com. And obviously, as you guys know, right, the where we're seeing the highest inflation in these categories are basically food, groceries. How big is your grocery bill getting these days, guys? Mine's at least doubled what it was a couple of years ago for the same amount of food. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe America will get less fat. Maybe we'll start actually thinking more about what we eat. And maybe it's a side effect. Well, it'll be better for everyone. But food and non-alcoholic beverages are currently looking at a peak inflation rate of their true inflation, which is 11.63%, much, much higher than what the powers that be, the mainstream media wants you to actually think. And obviously housing, right? Housing is 12.25%. I'm sure you guys noticed your rent's going up. I sure did. And then transport, right? Cars, gas. This is basically your gas costs, right? This is the meme where it's like, you're at 7-Eleven and then gas costs $7.11. And it's like, yeah, the prophecy has been foretold, So housing, transport, and food is where we're seeing it most of all. But what we're looking for on these charts is, have we peaked on inflation? Let's look at non-alcoholic or food and non-alcoholic beverages. It almost looks like we might have put in a top at about 12%, but we are steadily increasing in the past month or so. And so is the top in on inflation here? Well, it seems like we might have a top, but if it goes past 12.59%, again, that's clearly negates the whole hypothesis. Same with housing, guys. Housing is basically the steadiest run up. It's sitting at about 12.8% and coming down to about 12.25. That could easily go back up again, especially if we get some fear from the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, which I think they might do in July. So many ideas, trying to organize them all in my head right now. Transport, that peaked at about 23% in March, and now we're down to 17%. So have we seen the end of inflation? That's what we're going to be looking at. So keep an eye on this thing, bookmark it, because if you want to get a sense of the macro environment, I think a good measure of when we have a clear bottom, and when I say macro, I mean like the everything bubble, like all things, you're going to want to look for a peak in inflation. So if we make new higher highs in inflation rates, and you can actually see the true inflation rates here on Truflation, if we actually make a higher high, then my hypothesis is negated. But if we peaked in inflation, that's great. That means the quicker we can get to the bottom, the faster we can start going back up. Maybe Richard will drop PulseChain and life will be good around, Q3, Q4. end of the year. But yeah, this is inflation, guys. If you want to know what's actually going on, it's a lot more than the projected numbers of what they said. Today here in France, $8 a gallon. Yeah, brutal, man. Brutal. I think in Chicago right now, it's probably between $7 and $8. Depends where you go. But that's the number to keep an eye on when you want to try to time or get a sense of, have we experienced the worst of the worst, right? But I think what the Federal Reserve wants to do is they want to blow off all the steam that they can, because the markets are super inflated, and they tried raising basis points, 50 basis points already. So they've already raised the Federal Reserve rate, and that shocked the market. So the S&P is down about 25%, maybe 20. I don't know. Is that true? The S&P right now is down about 20% from all-time highs. And again, that's a lot for the stock market. But I mean, typically bear markets and recessions tend to go as low as 30%, maybe even more sometimes. I think the average is about 30%. So I don't think we're done, long story short. What I think is that this is a temporary relief rally. When you consider things coming up like midterm elections in November. So there's a lot of political infighting right now. Republicans are trying to take control of the markets, and they're probably using, everyone's trying to make their narrative, right? So maybe everyone's looking for some temporary relief to say, see, if we do this, if we do it our way, according to what we want, we can get inflation under control. We can get the markets back to where they were under the previous administration. It's just a battle of narratives. It's the blind leading the blind out there. But that is something to keep in mind. So, the upcoming elections, midterm elections in November, are something to keep an eye on. There's also a couple of other dates that we need to keep an eye on. Basically, the Federal Reserve is going to be meeting on July 26th right now. If you want to get a sense of where all of these people are meeting, let me share another tab for you really quick. The Fed meetings. Yeah, so here, we could see that in June, that's when they raised basis points a little bit, shocked the market, clearly, as we're seeing today. And now their next meeting is July 26th to 27th, and after that is September. You guys might want to put these in your calendar or just take a look at them, because what I'm speculating that the Fed is going to do is they're going to be either, basically people speculate on the Federal Reserve before these meetings, and you see a lot of volatility in the markets before each of these meetings, because this is basically where the Fed decides if they're going to raise interest rates or lower them or keep them the same. And what I think is going to happen in July is they're probably going to raise them. They're going to say, oh, well, 50 basis points didn't get us down as much as we want. We raised them 50 basis points and we're still having crazy inflation. We're still having all this madness in the economy. And so I think they're going to try to raise them 75 basis points, just as it's all just one big fight for narrative control and domination. So if they raise them 75 basis points, maybe that'll shock the system enough to go down to the point where things can normalize again, right? So keep an eye out for that in July 26th, 27th. But when things fall so sharply for so fast, they're overdue for a relief rally. And for example, in HEX, we've been trading at RSI levels that are super low for an extended period of time. And so we're overdue. So that's, HEX pumped almost 30% today, and everything's kind of pumping right now. And I think we're going to want to look at the Bitcoin levels as well, because unfortunately, whether you like to admit it or not, HEX is semi-related to Bitcoin right now. So much for your decorrelation, right? So HEX is normally decorrelated from almost everything, but when macro conditions come in like this, it all acts the same, guys. These are all speculative assets. What you got to ask yourself is, which one do you want to be holding that has the highest upwards price potential in the next bull market? Because everything's a cycle and it's going to come back. You just got to have patience, right? Staking helps. Staking helps. So if they raise interest rates on that date, you might want to look for this temporary relief rally, in my opinion, might be ending around 26th, 27th of July. So we might have a month of green, right? We might have a month of green candles, maybe just a couple of weeks. I don't really know. But at the end of the day, I don't think this is the end of the bull market that we're looking for. Okay, so just be ready for that. Be ready for that, because, again, I think there's forces at play from the powers that be to try to make the economy look good temporarily and say, see, we've got everything under control. You should consider us for midterm elections and blah, blah, blah. But, at the end of the day, there's a lot more pain I think we have to experience. Crypto Boogie, what's up, dude? Thank you for the tip, man. It's good to see you in the chat. They already raised them 75 BP. Yeah, but they might do it again, right? I think they raised them 75 BP total, but the last one was 50 and the one before that was 25. I could be wrong on that one. Machiavelli, where can I go to fire the Fed? I think you got to work out from the inside. It's got to be an inside job, Machiavelli. But Godspeed to you if you want to fire the Fed, because so do I. That's why we're in crypto. The Fed has really just royally been screwing us for the history of humanity, especially ever since the Bretton Woods Agreement in the 70s. Definition of a bear market versus a recession. Okay, let's talk about that. I've previously talked on videos that the average bear market lasts about 9.6 months. So that's the average bear market length. And it's pretty clear that we're in a bear market, right? But the real differentiating factor that we got to look out for when it comes to the narrative, when you're watching the news, hopefully you're not watching the news, right? But when you take a gander at what's going on in the mainstream and what all the sheeple are trying to buy into, there's bear market and there's recession. And a recession is basically just a prolonged bear market. So when the average bear market's about 9.6 months, the average recession length is about 1.5 years on average. Okay. And so it really depends how much pain do we have left in this market. It depends on bear market or recession. And a bear market is defined by the percentage down that things go. So a bear market is typically drops of about 25 to 30% or more, whereas a recession is clearly defined by GDP levels. So on a more macro level, it's GDP dropping for 2 quarters in a row. So let's look at GDP, shall we? Let me pull this up here. GDP. So here's you can go to statista.com and get a lot of these really good stats and just type in the search bar, GDP over time. You can see that GDP fell 2 quarters in a row in 20 for that, the old pandemic. And it got back up quickly. The reason we got out of this so quickly was because they printed a crap ton of money. They were just giving it away, helicopter money. I got a check for just sitting around all day, and I just got a check in the mail twice, I think, maybe even more. So we did have a 2 quarters in a row decline in GDP here, but we quickly printed our way out of it. And now that I think the powers that be are thinking this is unsustainable, well, you could see last quarter we clearly had a decline in GDP. And this quarter, when the numbers come out for GDP, because Q2 already passed, mind you, we're in Q3 right now. Q3 started on June 1st. And if we get negative GDP for Q2, that's when the powers that be are going to start screaming recession, recession, recession. And that's when all the people that are watching the TV that are just, brain dead lemmings, that's when they're going to say, oh no, recession, everybody freak out. Let me sell my stonks, at 30% loss. Just like, absolute idiots. Like we're already in probably a recession, right? But people don't know that. They just know what they hear from the talking heads on CNN and Fox at the end of the day. And so what I think is going to happen, what I'm predicting, is that we're probably going to get a real GDP decline for 2 quarters in a row without quantitative easing. And so with quantitative tightening environments, and the Fed's not, refusing to print more money because they need to get out of debt, right? They keep printing more money. They're just going to dig themselves a deeper hole. They're going to let this thing crash for a little bit longer. And so it's the difference of basically 9.6 months and 1.5 years if we're just using the averages, right? So let's take a look at the S&P 500. Chrome tab, SPY. Here we are. We've already experienced 172 days worth of decline, which is about, 6 months? See, 173. 173 divided by 30. That's about 6 months, 5 months. We've had about 5 months of it so far. And if we were in just a little old bear market, a little measly old bear market, we'd be down 30%, or 25 or 30% within the next 2 or 3 months, maybe, mid-September. That's that mid-September estimate that I was giving earlier for the potential bottom. But if we're in a recession, as you could see, the recession would put us out at 1.5 years from all-time highs, would put us out at, September of next year. Okay. So we're talking about almost a 1-year difference. And this might not be what you guys want to hear, but you got to look at this as an opportunity. Okay. This is an opportunity to stack your paychecks. Don't quit your day job. dollar cost average in at these all-time lows, because this is kind of like buying Bitcoin at the $3,000 level when things were crumbling around us back in 2018. Okay, this happens all the time, and crypto, it happens about every 4 years. Bear market or recession, whatever happens, now is the time to be DCAing in. Now is the time to get your seat at the table. But we're talking about the difference between literally, and it kind of works out nice with the dates, but literally between, let's see, September 2022 versus September 2023. Okay, that's the difference between bear market and recession, if that makes sense. Okay. Igloo Bamboo says recession equals change of government. Yeah. Well, there is a lot of fighting for change of power. There's a game of musical chairs going on, and everybody wants to know who's going to be the winner at the end of the day. Let's see. So bear market versus recession. One thing I wanted to point out, it's kind of an interesting thing. My good friend Mike Tracy, he said there have been 26 bear markets since 1929, but only 15 recessions during that time. So out of all the bear markets that happen, so every recession includes a bear market, but not every bear market is a recession. Does that make sense? So about 15 recessions out of 26 bear markets, that means about 58% of the time, a bear market turns into an economic recession. Okay. And that's more than half. I mean, that's not much of a probabilistic thing to work off of. It's only a little bit more than half, but it's my personal thoughts right now that you might as well plan for the worst, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Okay. So I think we're due for a recession, but I think that doesn't mean that things are just going to keep going down. I think what it means is we might wick down. We might get one more capitulation wick, maybe down to 1 penny hex, and then we start going up, from there. But when I say start going up, I don't mean we just wick and go straight back up. I mean, we come to a grinding, boring halt. You know what I mean? So like when Bitcoin was at that $3,000 level, it was there for like 3 or 4 months, just doing nothing. And people are going to get bored, right? So you guys can't get bored of this game. Okay. You need to look at this as an opportunity. You need to stay in the game. Okay. It's just a matter of the survivors. The survivors win. The reason I made it in crypto is because I didn't give up in 2018 when everybody else was. Okay. Like I saw communities totally crumble and fail all around us, but we're not going anywhere. Right. And in 2018, I was actually just stacking more Bitcoin, believe it or not. I was dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. And now this time around, I'm telling everyone to dollar cost average into HEX, because the price potential of HEX exponentially beats the price potential of Bitcoin. In my humble opinion, you're not even going to get Bitcoin. Did like a 3.3x from all-time highs in this bear market. And because we have diminishing returns and orders of magnitude less gains, in every bear market, Bitcoin's just going to get it's a heavier object. It's harder and harder to move because there's more and more liquidity and more big players already in. So Bitcoin has already been institutionalized. It's not for the little guy anymore, and it's not going to make you rich. Okay, that's what we're all here for. So don't forget, you're here to make money. Bitcoin, maybe if we're lucky, does a 1.5, 1.6x in the next bull market. And maybe we top out at like $100,000 Bitcoin, maybe $120,000 Bitcoin. That'd be like my prediction for the next bull market, right? But HEX, on the other hand, when we're talking about the 5 cent, 4 cent level it's at today, I could easily see it in the single digit dollars. We could top at $4. We could top at $10. We could top at $20 and then crash all the way back down to $2, right? That'd be a 90% dip, right? But from 5 cents to $2, that's still, what is that? It's still like 50x or something like that. So is the Fed going to be dovish or hawkish? That's what we got to pay attention to. Dovish and hawkish, for those that don't know, dovish just means that they're, benevolent, acting without raising interest rates. Dovish is good. Hawkish is bad, essentially. Hawkish means they raise interest rates. Dovish means they don't do anything or lower interest rates. And I don't see that happening. Quite frankly, I just don't see that happening. So, we'll find out. We'll find out. And, when we finally get to that ultimate low, I think after this summer, around Q4 2022 is when we're going to see the most. It's going to be after this relief rally. We're going to see another leg down probably. And it's going to be more pain, an ultimate capitulation. And then it's going to be grinding, boring halt for the next 6 to 9 months after that. And that's your real accumulation phase right there, guys. So, I mean, yeah, you can keep accumulating now. That's totally fine. You should be probably if you like money. But yeah, so it's not going to look like just a V bottom and then rocket ship back up. It's going to look like a V bottom and then just trudging along, just really, really boring price action, probably for a while. But we're going to make it fun, guys. I mean, in the next bull market, do you want to be holding Bitcoin? Do you want to be holding Bitcoin, or do you want to be holding alternative assets like HEX, with way more price potential? Way more price potential. Look at the HEX Bitcoin bottom, okay? And then look and just think about what is going to get back up. When you consider that Hexkins are staked for 6.6 years on average, we're dominating social media, guys. We're trending on social media right now. The $HEX is trending on social media. We're not going anywhere. It seems like a no-brainer to me. This seems like the most obvious coin that's going to just, surpass all people's wildest expectations. The haters are going to have to cope. A lot of them are going to buy in and pretend they were Hexkins the whole time. It's going to be funny. And, some of the haters are just going to cry harder. Some are going to rage quit. Some people just don't like to admit when there's a better alternative, right? And so there's a better asset out there. There's a better store of value. It's called HEX. It's got better game theory, better design, 100% uptime, never been hacked, way better community, way better founder. At the end of the day, it's all about the community. It's all about you guys in the chat. It's all about you guys just holding strong, staking, offsetting your losses. Guys, when you're staking, if you stake out you might as well stake out for a minimum of 1 year. First of all, there's the long-term capital gains tax implication. So you might as well get that long-term capital gains tax by holding for longer than 1 year. But on top of that, you're offsetting your losses. Okay. So if we fall another, 50%, but you by staking have been making, 15, 20% APY, then your realized loss at the end of it all is negated by 20%. You just made a little bit of that loss back on paper by making interest, by getting the inflation paid out to you, the staker. So there's one more thing I forgot to talk about. It's basically the national debt to GDP ratio. Okay. So the debt to GDP ratio is what we're talking about when we talk about macro. We know that the US is in a lot of debt. Okay. And it keeps rising every year. But let me try to pull up one of these charts here on statista.com. Here it is. Here's a good one. Let me share my screen really quick. So we can see that usually it's under 100%, or it's under 1, the debt to GDP ratio. And you want it to be under 1. That's typically a good thing. If it goes over 1, that's when people start to get scared. Okay. So in 2020, we just barely passed 1. In 2021, we're still at about 1. It says we dropped a little bit. That's debatable. GDP, that metric can be finagled and frankly manipulated. You can tweak the numbers. I mean, go look it up. In China, they literally built entire cities just to raise their GDP that are totally empty. They have nobody living in them. They just built all these buildings and stuff to say that they had real estate on their books, basically, that all this real estate was worth something, even though it wasn't a productive asset in actual use. So there's these dormant cities, like literal ghost cities in China, and it's really crazy stuff. But the projection for 2022 is that we want to bring this ratio back down, right? We want GDP to basically go up to bring the debt to GDP ratio down, because it's debt divided by GDP, right? So you want the denominator to be bigger. And how do you raise GDP? Again, you either make more, you either produce more stuff, goods and services, and growth, economic growth, or you print more money. And the Fed doesn't look like it's printing money. So we're either going to have manipulated economic growth or just an even higher debt to GDP than we think, which will lead to an economic recession. Okay. So the forecast is to go down. The forecast is to go down, which means who knows, guys? It might happen. It might not. I don't think it's actually going to happen. Hey, Roof Dog, thanks, Coffee, for all you do, sharing your words of wisdom. No problem. It's a lot of word salad right now. So I just have a lot of thoughts, and I'm trying to organize them in a reasonable way for you guys to understand. So yeah, you can check out the federalreserve.gov if you want to look at the meeting dates. I think when we do see an eventual kind of end in the bull market, or in the bear market rather, we're going to be talking about stuff like peace in the East. When you start seeing, because that's a nice narrative for them too. It's like, oh, we're war with Russia and Ukraine is leading to economic sanctions, and that's the reason. It's nice for the powers that be to have a finger to point, right? And so when things start shaping up, maybe that's when they can take their finger off the war button, the war machine. And once we see peace in the East and more quantitative easing, meaning more money printing, that's what's going to give me bull market vibes, essentially. So on top of that, you've got another date to keep in the books is May 4th, 2024 is the next Bitcoin halving. So the anticipation up to the Bitcoin halving could also help us in 2023 lead back up into that bull market that we're all hoping for. But guys, this is the time to stack your money. This is the time to stack your paychecks and get into an asset that actually pays you. So, man, what else did I want to say? We're trending in Twitter. How awesome is that? Guys, if you need any proof at all that we're not going anywhere, there's so much, we call it divert. Hold on. Yeah, look at this right here, guys. What's happening on Twitter? Business and finance, trending, HEX. Okay, that's a big deal. If you didn't notice, even the stupidest tweets today were getting hundreds of likes. You could just tweet out HEX right now. You'll probably get like 100 likes on Twitter because we're trending. We're dominating all social media. Okay, the social media metrics are going up while price is going down. Okay, this is a good thing. This is a really good metric by all accounts. We've got more YouTubers than ever before. It's really, really mind-blowing, guys. It's mind-blowing. Like, I was just at the Cubs game the other day. There was 100 Hexicans there. Met a lot of great people. Had a really, really awesome time. Like, like I just had the best time. I can't stress that enough. And like, this gives me hope, guys. This gives me hope. We're the ones driving the narrative. It's our time to pass the torch, and we're not going to let this narrative die. Okay, we have a better store of value than Bitcoin. And so it's all about just getting the word out, getting adoption. And if you're getting your friends in now, you're doing them a huge favor because you're not getting them in at the top. If you're dollar cost averaging at 4 cents, and it goes down to 2 cents, 1 cent, be ready for that. Okay, that's a 50% dip from here, or even a 75% dip from here. That could happen. That's all in the cards. But you got to think about nothing. None of that matters on the way to $5, $10. Okay, and that's where we could actually top out at the next bull market. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious, guys. More Chicago events. Yeah, I agree. Art of Guar. Love the stream. Thank you. I don't understand Twitter, but sounds good to me. Fat Sammy Slice, get on Twitter. Tweet out HEX. You might be surprised how many likes you get. Oh, man. HEX Coffee's Cafe sounds good. Yeah, it sure does. Sure does. Yeah, guys. HEX is trending on Twitter. We got a movie coming out at the end of the year. I mean, there's so much that's going to be kind of synchronistic with the macro market too. Like, I think right as we're capitulating, so we get this relief rally, right? People buy in, and then there's one more ultimate shakeout in Q4. And then boom, you've got HEX HEX movie on Netflix or wherever it's going to be on. They're literally in the sales process. They're either going to sell it to Netflix or Hulu or one of those big things. So it's actually profitable. And it's going to be good. Guys, it's not going to be cringe at all. Like, if Richard likes it, it's not going to be cringe. I mean, it's going to be a good thing. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited for that. And that's going to kick off the ultimate, like, by the time we bottom out, everyone and their mother will have heard of HEX. I mean, we were just on Bloomberg, okay? We're in Bloomberg and the Times. You guys have all seen that. Bloomberg, trending on Twitter, movie at the end of the year, Richard Hart, outrage marketing, more YouTubers than ever before. My metrics are way up. Everything's dying left and right around us. Solend. There was a Solana thing. Solend is a lending platform that just got, basically screwed, annihilated because they were over leveraged. Luna, Celsius, BlockFi is reporting massive losses. All these centralized platforms are being exposed. It's like, the water, the tide is going back out, and we're seeing who's got their swim trunks still on. You know what I mean? We're seeing who's swimming with their pants down. Three Arrows Capital recently just got annihilated as well. And so with this long string of just bad news after bad news, I think like the rule of threes, right? So you've got Luna, Celsius, and Solend. And then you've got minor things like the Coinbase layoffs and Three Arrows Capital and BlockFi, But these three big things were kind of the driving force of this huge leg down. So I think we are overdue for a relief rally in the next month, maybe a month and a half. And then I think the Fed basically is going to be hawkish again, raise interest rates even more. We're going to have one last leg down, and then we're just going to have flatline, heartbeat stopped. Everybody says crypto is dead. All your relatives are asking you, oh, are you okay? Oh, my God, I feel so bad for you, And then next Thanksgiving, you're all sitting around at the table, and they're going to be asking you, hey, how do I get into crypto? People are very simple, and people have a very short memory, So just keep positive through it, guys. I don't know if you've ever heard of the idea of Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager is basically like it's a religious thing. It's like, well, if you have everything to gain by believing in God and everything to lose by not believing in God, whether or not God actually exists or not, you might as well believe in him, right? So it's like Pascal's wager, but for positivity and conviction in what you're holding, right? You have everything to gain and literally nothing to lose. And I'm so convinced that we're going to be the talk of the town, and everyone's going to come out of the woodwork in 2023, and especially in 2024, guys, when the bull market really kicks off again, and they're going to be either pretending that they were here the whole time. They're going to be preaching Richard Hart's name from the rooftops. They're going to be, just loving HEX, and also PulseChain on top of that. PulseChain is going to give them a reason to pretend like they weren't wrong. You know what I mean? Crypto coffee, strong like bull. Yes, that's me. That's me. It's my shitty Russian accent. Resilient Boast, GoDaddy family, was great to see lit stream again. Audio was shot though. I don't know what you're talking about, but sorry. HEX is going to explode. Yes, it will. So we're at the 40-minute mark. Damn, time went by really fast on that rant. But if there's any questions in the audience, I'm happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. Need a meetup in Gulf Shores? Yeah, we do need a meetup in Gulf Shores. Let's see. Can't wait till bull market. Woohoo! Yeah, me too, man. It feels good. And if you guys haven't got to experience, if you're new here, you're actually here at the best possible time. I really, really mean that from the bottom of my heart. You are here at the right time. And if you're actually in this chat trying to learn about HEX and learn about crypto in general, you're gonna be so ahead of the curve when it comes back. Recessions don't last forever, guys. Nothing can really overpower like the power of the human imagination. The human imagination is too big to fail, essentially, right? And so we always grow our way out of it. We always innovate our way out of these things. But when power is shifting hands and we're experiencing the greatest wealth transfer in human history, it gets rocky, right? Because people are trying to cling on to their old narratives. We've got YouTubers freaking out because they're promoting BlockFi and they were way too invested in Celsius, or they're way too invested in Luna. And now they're just trying to cope, right? Where us, the OGs, we're like what crypto was supposed to be, okay? Hold your own private keys. Don't give your power away. Don't complain and point fingers and say it's this guy's fault that the price is down or that guy's fault. The whole market is down, right? Take the power into your own hands and see the future. Like, have some conviction and have some respect for yourself, okay? Have some actual respect for your own financial future and don't leave it into other people's hands, okay? You are the network in HEX. It's no one's job to shill it for you, but I think we're doing a pretty good job. I think I'm doing a pretty good job, and we're not going anywhere again. But look, it's like, do you want financial freedom? Are you going to sit on the sidelines and just watch as, HEX cuckolds your gains? Or are you going to actually get involved and be a part of the biggest wealth transfer in history, be a part of changing your own life? And the people that do get financially free, they end up making it better for everyone, right? We pay it forward. I'm not getting paid for this, but I paid myself in massive, massive gains. I've reached financial freedom, and I'm not living in a castle or anything, but I'm living comfortably. And I'm here to tell you guys that after 2.5 cycles, I've been in crypto for 7 years, and I've been in the markets for longer. And it's just cycle after cycle. Society always feels like we're on the brink of apocalypse. Okay. And if you pay attention to the news, if it bleeds, it leads, right? They make money off of your fear. So don't be a sheep. Don't fall into the fear narrative, because that's what they're making money on. Our response to fear is a lot stronger than our response to pleasure. So that goes back to prehistoric days, right? If your ancestors got eaten by a lion, you knew to stay the hell away from a lion. But, when you're celebrating or, having a party, it's like, that's fun for a day, but it wears off very quickly. But the imprint of fear is stronger because it used to keep you from getting killed. Whereas now it's just every day on the internet, the world's ending no matter what. I mean, there's entire cults that base their whole premise off of the world is going to end someday. So join our cult so that you're going to be saved, and you'll be part of the, you'll be able to ascend. Oh man. Crypto Coffee has Clark Kent Superman hair going on. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Is it this little curly Q? I'm going to keep it there. What is the reason you chose Crypto Coffee? Well, that's, Crypto Coffee, the name. The name comes from, I used to have an e-commerce store where I sold coffee for cryptocurrency. But the reason I chose crypto is because there's no other way out, guys. There's no other way out to financial freedom. Like, this is literally, we're reinventing. The internet was the freedom of decentralization of information. Crypto is the decentralization of value and money. And money is just another form of speech, right? So the internet was the one big innovation, like the 2001 bubble. And this crypto bubble that we're experiencing now is a lot like 2001, but instead of decentralizing information, we're decentralizing money. And literally everyone's going to be using it. It's going to be a household name one day. Okay. So that's the reason I chose crypto, is because there's simply no other option. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I like that. Is that like Gandhi or something? Hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. That was quick. What else is going on Twitter? Guys, we got, I don't know if you checked out this guy, Wall Street Bets mod, just to add to the virality that we're going through on Twitter. This guy's a moderator on Wall Street Bets, and he's all into HEX right now. He's getting a lot of, yeah, maybe he's doing it for engagement, right? But he knows that it's HEX and then things like Dogecoin and Bitcoin that get the most engagement, right? So HEX, it's the most hated coin, right? But that means we must be doing something right. Okay. I love this guy, Wall Street Bets crypto mod. The tables are turning, guys. I don't know if you heard, but BitBoy Crypto, the #1 crypto YouTuber, he's changing. He's seen the light, right? He's no longer getting paid to shill, right? He's made it, and so now he can actually speak his mind. And when PulseChain launches, I think you're going to see BitBoy change his tune. No promises, but that's the impression that I get. And there's a lot of these influencers that have invested in PulseChain that they don't want to talk about it yet because they're so used to what they used to be doing, which is dumping on their followers' heads. But the turntables have turned, guys. PulseChain is basically the Trojan horse to let HEX go mainstream and to let all the former haters give them one more chance to say that they were right the whole time. And they always liked HEX. They always liked PulseChain. And that maybe Richard Hart's not so bad. Richard Hart's waiting for the bottom. Yeah, I do think that what's happening basically with the PulseChain delay is that he was offered some design trade-offs to improve PulseChain. And because of the bear market, I think he's choosing to allow the developers to make PulseChain even better. So he's not necessarily timing the market, but he's taking his time with the market. You know what I mean? So yeah, BitBoy's on board, no doubt. The crypto banter boys, though, yeah, crypto banter, man. Altcoin Daily. Oh, dude, Altcoin Daily has got to cope so hard right now. I feel bad for that guy, man. That guy is just such a hater. But he's not actually the worst hater we've had. You know, he's no Peter McCormick. You know what I mean? Let's see. What happens up copy of HEX to PHEX? The supply of coins get bigger? Well, the supply of coins gets copied, but then you've got Ethereum native HEX and PulseChain native HEX. And so, yeah, the supply doubles basically, but the market has to value the coins differently. And I think they're going to value the PulseChain version higher, but that's not to say the Ethereum version is going to die either way. So you might as well stake now so that you get your stakes on both chains, right? And then just get that interest because T-shares are never going to be cheaper. Literally, they're never going to be cheaper than today. So when the copy does happen, the sum of the two parts will be greater than the whole before the fork. Does that make sense? So even if, let's say, HEX is 20 cents before the fork, and HEX goes down to 1 penny, and PHEX goes up to 25 cents, well, the sum of 25 plus 1 penny is 26. 2 coins are better than 1. Guys, still higher than the price pre-fork. Does that make sense? That's my my magic ball, crystal ball prediction for you. What do you guys want to talk about? I got all day here. We could talk about the bear market. We could talk about macro. We could just talk about whatever's going on. Guys, the meetups are so awesome. They're still happening. I love your videos and you're such a cutie. Thank you. I hope you're a female, but it doesn't matter either way. I'll take cutie. Keep up the good work and thanks for all your help. Thank you, MM. Ade, yeah, thanks. Hexomium, take it easy. What do you think about the early days T-shares we see burned recently? I haven't really taken a look at that, but that's a good thing, right? The more T-shares get burned, the more scarce T-shares become, the higher T-share per day payout gets. And that means you in the chat, everybody that's getting in now is basically that much more of an advantage, guys. You really, I can't stress this enough. You want to get yourself a seat on the rocket ship. And you've got a year, right? You've got a year, but that should be a good thing. I think we're going to slosh around between 10 cents and 1 penny for the next year. You know, that's a big range, I know, but in crypto, it's actually not. In crypto, that's when you're talking about $10 HEX, it doesn't matter if you bought in at 1 penny or 5 pennies, or you bought a little bit at every little penny mark along the way, because your average price is going to be so low. If your average price is 10 cents or even 20 cents in the next bull market, you're going to be fine. You're going to be totally fine. Johnny, what's up, Johnny? How you doing? Johnny Chaos in the house. Tara Burr, meet up in Vegas this weekend. Yeah, shout out to Dollar Cost Crypto. This is one of the guys that I want you guys to all go subscribe to right now. Dollar Cost Crypto has some quality alpha. I know he gets involved in a lot of altcoins. His mind it works very fast. It's not quite the same. His thought process is different than mine, but he's a great asset to have in the community, and he's shilling HEX harder than anyone I know right now. He's the one that's telling you this is the time to buy. Well, I am too, but he's the one that if you guys want some real hopium, guys, go subscribe to Dollar Cost Crypto. He's having an epic party in Vegas this weekend. It sounds like a lot of fun. If you want to get your ticket, he's having like a 3-story mansion party. You know, a bunch of crypto bros just hanging out. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, Dollar Cost Crypto has been a HEX advocate since day one. I remember he was like the first guy. I did a podcast with him before HEX even launched, and he never changed his tune. Right? He just got more and more convinced in HEX over time. I mean, there was a point where we were all kind of shaky about it. Guys, trust me, this isn't even the worst FUD that we've had. Like, we've had such bad FUD. In the first 60 days of HEX was down 90%. I don't know if you guys know this. In the first 60 days of HEX, it was down 90%, and everybody was saying it was dead. And even me, I was like, well, guys, you know, it's not looking good, but I'm going to keep going because I might as well. I believe in Richard, you know. And then we started to understand the code a little bit more and what it was actually all about in the T-share system. And then we all had this light bulb moment, which everybody has at some point or another in their HEX journey. And then they realize, oh, wow, this is actually a really innovative product here, and it's not going anywhere for many, many years. It's probably going to outlast our lifetime. I mean, I'm holding for 15 years, okay? Let's see. Something about Mike Alfred. Why is Mike Alfred such a hater? The stuff he's saying on Crypto Banter makes no sense. He's comparing HEX to Herbalife. Dude, don't give haters like this any attention. Actually, you know what? I think Mike Alfred being such a hater is actually good, because he and his boys are the ones that I think he was the one that was interviewed for the Times article, you know, talking crap about Richard. So all these haters, if they have a large following, they're actually net positive, because some portion of people that do find out about HEX through the haters, they're going to be smarter than the actual hater themselves. See, there's a quote that's like, you know, a man chooses, it's hard for a man to understand something. It's hard for a man to truly understand something when his salary is based on him not understanding it. A lot of these guys out here promote Bitcoin. They promote centralized third-party platforms. They promote giving your private keys away to Bybit, to go leverage trade, to BlockFi, to Celsius, to go lose all your money in a centralized platform where they take your private keys, they do some stupid stuff with it, and then you can't even withdraw your money at the end of the day. That's what these guys make their living off of. And HEX threatens a lot of that business model, especially with CoinMarketCap. We see that. That's why we're ranked at 201. I wouldn't give these guys any mind. I mean, look at them as entertainment. Okay. Mike Alfred's like the new Peter McCormick. He's like Peter McCormick with like 10 more IQ points. He's still not smart, but he's actually able to form a coherent sentence at least. All right. Because we were dipping more. What? Still waiting for Data Dash to mention HEX. He talked with Richard Hart years before. I have a hunch that Data Dash has been holding HEX the whole time. I really have a hunch that Data Dash has been holding HEX the whole time, but a lot of these people have no balls. You know, they didn't have the courage to admit that HEX was good because it was so unpopular to say. And courage is rewarded. Patience and courage are rewarded, literally. I mean, having conviction in something that's unpopular often ends up being, you know, the herd is usually wrong. And you want to go where nobody else is. Competition's for losers, right? Peter Thiel. You want to, if you're going to try to make a coin, why not try to make something better than Bitcoin, the #1 cryptocurrency? And why not admit to everybody that the only reason people buy this stuff in the first place is because of the price? It's a positive feedback loop on the way up, and it's a negative feedback loop on the way down. So the only reason any people buy this stuff at all is because they're buying into narrative memes with the hope that the price is going to go up in the future. And the HEX holders, HEX stakers, are the only ones that are honest about that. And we're the only ones that are honest about, yeah, Guess what? Crypto does dip 90%. It just dipped 90%. We've been telling you the whole time. And in HEX, it's dipped 90%, I think, twice in the past. And it's dipped 60% over and over, at least 7 or 8 times in HEX's history. But the price you pay for the mad gains is extreme volatility. So if you're here, you guys are in the right place. But this is where you're forged in fire. Okay. This is where you really get your big boy pants on. And then next time, there's another bull market and another crash, you're going to have balls of steel. You're going to be just fine. Met Data Nick a few times. He's weak sauce. Yeah, I mean, he's just he might be a little soft, he doesn't he's just like what do you call it? A fair weather fan, I suppose. But something tells me he's got a bag of HEX he's not talking about. Yeah, too beta to step out on a limb. That's what I was thinking. I heard Richard Hart almost 2 years ago from watching Crypto Banter, and don't listen to Crypto Banter anymore just for fun. Yeah, I agree. I heard about Richard Hart from his interview with I think Roger Ver. Actually, no, I heard about him before that. I think I even saw some of his self-help stuff back in the day. What do you think? What is the best way to get PulseX? I sacked, but I want to fill my bag more. Oh, wow. Well, okay. Well, if you want to get more PulseX, I think there's going to be a huge dip in PulseX right at launch. And so obviously you want to zig when everyone else zags, right? And if your goal is to get more PulseX, I think that might actually be the smart move right away in the first couple of weeks, because everyone's going to be dumping their PulseX to get Pulse, because a lot of people miss Pulse and the Pulse sacrifice. But if you want the other thing, I think you're going to have a prime opportunity in literally the first couple of weeks. I would say just buy the dip, because I think it's going to dip right away. Is that vodka lemonade like Lord Disick drinks? No, it's water with a little lemon inside of it. Got to stay hydrated, my friends. Water, it's the essence of life. Okay, this is where the party's at. Yeah, we got 500 people here. Hell yeah. Data Dash doesn't show HEX because Richard won't pay him. Yeah, guys, a lot of people out here are paid by third parties. I'm not paid by anybody, okay? I pay myself with my gains, and I talk about what I like, and I talk about what I want to talk about, okay? That's what I do, and it's awesome. It's so easy, because I'm not beholden to anybody. I don't have to answer to BlockFi at the end of the day. I'm not making my money off referral fees. I'm making my money off of wise investment decisions and wise investment strategies, which is a boring strategy. It's not what people want to hear. It's buy the fucking dip and hold for a long time. And dollar cost average, like I said, I dollar cost average into Bitcoin in 2018 for months and months when it was super boring. And then I funneled all of that. I literally sold all my Bitcoin for HEX in the first year of HEX. Not at the first couple days. I was still a little skeptical. I put in, I think, like, some of my Bitcoin. And then over time, I saw it going up more and more. And I said, oh, crap, this is the real deal. I got to capitalize on this. This is the future. I got to double down. I got to make a whole YouTube channel about this and tell the world. And I don't have any more Bitcoin, guys. I mean, hey, if you want to hold one Bitcoin or a couple of, if you want to hold a little Bitcoin in your back pocket, that's fine. But to me, it's just a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want to hold the asset with the most potential? If Bitcoin at the next cycle is going to top at 100K, and maybe you're lucky if you make a 10X from the lows, whereas PulseChain and HEX, you're going to make orders of magnitude more. We're talking 100 to 1,000X. Why wouldn't you want to be holding that? It was hard for me to let go of my Bitcoin, though. I will say that, because I did have an emotional attachment. And there is something to be said for the emotional attachment that you get from holding a coin for a long period of time. You get this like bond, and money is an emotional thing, right? It's like, imagine if every time you bought, this is a Vitalik Buterin quote, but like, imagine if every time you bought a Macintosh computer or a Windows PC, imagine if the Windows PC came with like 5 Microsoft stock. People would be much more emotionally invested. And people still fight. People still fight to the death. They're like, oh, I'm an iPhone guy. I'm an Android guy. People just like picking teams. Coke, Pepsi, stupid stuff that literally doesn't matter at all. Now take that and put some actual financial value behind it, and people are at each other's throats, okay? If you don't believe in our tribe, our team, you're an idiot, and you're going to zero, and screw you. I think a lot of people forget that the real enemy here is the central banks, guys. That's what we're seeing now. The central banks have royally screwed us. They keep printing money to oblivion, and I'd rather have the code be the law, okay? It's not inflation that's the problem. It's out of control inflation that's the problem. Inflation at 3.69% constant that can't be changed, immutable. That's what immutable means. That's what it should have been the whole time. I'd rather trust math than man. Okay. I'd rather trust a piece of code, a beautifully written 2,000-line smart contract called HEX. I think that is literally so much better than a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off at the Federal Reserve. Seriously. What is going on in the chat? Michelle, hello. Short the banks. Yeah. Crypto is literally shorting the banks. That's what it is. Crypto is shorting the banks. This is the way. Yes. Thank you, Coffee, for your interview with Jack Levin. Hey, speaking of Jack Levin, I think I'm getting him to talk at PulseCon 2022. God, I hope PulseChain launches by PulseCon, right? That sure would be nice. Even if it doesn't, I'm still going to be at PulseCon. I'm trying to get my speech together. I'm going to try to make it interesting for you guys. But yeah, I think Jack Levin might also be, at least, if not talking, he should be attending. I hope. I don't want to speak for him. Okay. Trust math than men. Crypto Coffee 2022. Yeah, put that quote in my my portrait above your fireplace. Let's see. This is a fantastic shakeout of the losers. Redistribution to people more likely to stake pre-launch. Hit the like, smash the subscribe. When will be the best opportunity to buy PLS because I missed the PLS sacrifice? Well, I think that the best opportunity to buy PLS is going to be at the dip after PulseChain launches. I've talked about this over and over again. I think in the first 30 to 60 days of PulseChain, there's going to be a dip opportunity because that's what everybody, literally every new coin has a dip because there's always going to be short-term profit takers no matter what. If people make a 2x or a 5x or a 10x, some people just don't have the vision to see longer than a couple of months or a couple of weeks even. So I think you're going to have a great PLS dip buying opportunity around, if I have to be more specific, I would say around 47 days after PulseChain launches, because that's what happened to Ethereum. Crypto Coffee, will you please do a response to YouTuber Stefan Cornelia? He did a recent video where he was talking mad crap about you and what you said about HEX. All right, here's the thing about people like that guy. Some people like him or like CoffeeZilla, they make their whole entire living off of talking shit about other people. And I think it's kind of stupid and gross, you know? Their whole thing is like, we're calling out the scammers, right? But if you get it wrong half the time by doing poor research, eventually you're just going to lose all your credibility. And so I'd rather not pay this person any more mind, or I'd rather not even mention his name again because he doesn't deserve any publicity. He's kind of he's just a weak soy boy hater as far as I'm concerned. Like, there's no reason for me to give him any more fuel, right? He wants people's mind share, and I want people's mind share. So I'd rather you just subscribe to me directly, okay? I'd rather you listen to me and not try to hear me. Well, maybe it would be fun to debate him, right? But then he's getting what he wants, right? But yeah, maybe that would be good. Hey, look, Bufo, if you want to set up an interview with me and Spencer Cornelia, I'd be happy to do that, okay? But yeah, for the most part, don't feed the trolls. My kind of philosophy on this is that don't feed the trolls unless they have a lot of clout and following. Like, if the troll that's trolling you has 1 million followers, then you actually have a lot to gain by proving your point in a public domain. But if the troll's got like a couple thousand subscribers and is not really anybody, like, why waste your energy on it? Why waste your time on it, guys? Positivity, man. Yeah, don't waste your time on these plebs. But if that Spencer dude is actually a high follower count guy, then maybe I will. Elvis, thanks, bro. Just want to let you know I've been watching since you started. You got a lot of good stuff in your life. I was your 400th sub. Thank you, Elvis. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate that. All right, we're coming up at an hour, so I'll do a couple more questions and I will GTFO. MC323, planning on using yield from single-sided staking, PulseX staking to DCA into PLS. That sounds like a pretty good plan to me. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good plan. You're going to have to wait like a month or so because single-sided staking on PulseX won't be available until about maybe a month. It's got to get voted in, right? So there needs to be voting contracts that actually get voted in. But I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a great way to scale into Pulse over time. Are you pro any projects waiting on PulseChain? What's the impact of delays on these projects? Well, I would say the impact is they get more time to hopefully perfect their project. And yeah, I do like projects on PulseChain. I talk about the ones that I like scroll back in my YouTube history, go like 4 or 5 live streams ago. I do my whole PulseChain, like what I'm invested in, what I like, and all that stuff. Finally caught a stream. What's your view on base and team? I don't understand it too well yet. I think base is essentially a rolling 1-year stake, where it's basically a pooled stake, just like Maxi. And I'm not sure what team is totally, to be honest with you. But I would love to have Tanto Nominai on the stream to talk more about base and team when he's actually ready to launch. I think it's a little too early, actually. Coffee, let's all raid Crypto Heartbeat's channel for Levin and help him out. Okay, everybody go to Crypto Heartbeat's channel. I'm going to end my my thing. Oh, 1 second, really quick. Have I covered Cult DAO? I think it's pointless and it's got admin keys and it's just like or maybe it doesn't have admin keys, but it's hard for me to see a point to Cult DAO. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like crowdfunded VC smart contract thing, but then it's like, why not just get the funding directly? Right? Like it doesn't seem like I need to do a little more research on Cult DAO, but my initial 2 cents is that it's nothing special. Okay. When's the coffee token? Probably, I'll let you guys know if I'm actually making something. I might have some kind of bridge protocol thing in mind, actually. All right. Thanks for the PLSD tip. Yeah, no problem. Smash the like, subscribe. Guys, I got to get going. It's about an hour. I have to go to the bathroom because I'm so hydrated, obviously. And buy some merch. We've got hats and mugs in the description below. If you want Tears of Hex Haters mugs, go buy one of those. If you want non-financial advice hats, we've got those too. Got them right here. Okay. So yeah, guys, I appreciate all of you and have a great rest of your day. I'll be here with you in the bull market, bear market, and let's get rich. Talk to you later.